Hello, and welcome to Getting Started with Action Research. In Part 2, we introduced the problem of practice. In this video, we will share a process for building a problem tree, restating the problem tree as an objective tree, and using the objective tree to develop a theory of action. As a quick reminder, a problem of practice is something practitioners care about improving in order to make a difference in student learning. The problem of practice is refined and focused by analyzing student data, by reviewing your own professional reflections, by engaging colleagues in professional dialogue, and by consulting the published literature. The first step in the construction of the problem tree is to record the problem of practice. For this example, we will use a graphic organizer shaped like a tree. You can also construct a problem tree using a table to organize the information. The problem of practice is recorded in the center of the tree diagram. Next, ask yourself, how does this problem of practice affect your learners? Each statement will begin with the word learners or students. Record at least 5 responses to this question. Then, for each of the 5 responses, ask, why is this occurring? Record 2 or more responses to this question for each of the 5 or more effects. Do not worry if some of the causes are the same. Finally, record at least 5 undesired learner outcomes that arise from the problem. These should be linked to expected learning outcomes linked to academic growth, achievement, or non-cognitive development. Note that the numbered items 1 to 5 in the top part of the tree do not correspond to the numbered items 1 to 5 in the lower part of the diagram. Be sure to review the problem tree in the round and seek feedback from critical friends to validate your responses. When you are ready, restate each item in the positive in the objective tree. Begin by restating the problem of practice as the purpose. The purpose is to address or solve the problem. Next, restate each of the negative effects on learners as a goal. The goals provide a more detailed description of the conditions required to solve the problem. Then, consider what actions are needed to address each cause. The actions are outputs that are needed to achieve the goal. At this stage, the actions are typically big pieces of work that may each require a number of smaller steps. Finally, restate each of the undesired learner outcomes as desired learner outcomes. These are the aspects of student learning that you expect to improve and plan to assess in order to understand the effectiveness of the actions you will take. The objective tree is used to develop a theory of action. This term is used because everyone recognizes that learning is a complex process and that it involves dynamic feedback from learners and responsive interventions by practitioners. Theories of actions are always subject to evidence-informed modification. The theory of action is constructed by reviewing and prioritizing the actions. The theory of action typically consists of a number of if-then statements. If we take a certain action, then a desired learner outcome will result. Remember that this learner outcome will be evaluated based on baseline, formative, and summative data. For each if-then statement, a more detailed description of what would have to change is developed. The steps in this more detailed description are typically presented chronologically in a timeline. In the timeline, each action is broken down into steps. The individual or group responsible for implementing the steps are identified, and the resources they will need to complete the actions are described. These may include time, access to expertise, physical teaching resources, or changes to the learning environment. There are any number of software applications that can be used to chart and monitor the theory of action. As you work through your problem tree, your objective tree, and your theory of action, you will develop a clear focus for your action research question. Your action research question will clarify the intervention you will use, the target students, and the learner outcomes you are trying to achieve. Defining and refining the research question is an essential step in the formal research process.